In this video, we're going to look at some defensive line technique, and we'd like to thank Coach Mike Reggie for his expertise, along with Coach Pierce O'Grady and Michael Donovan for their assistance in creating this video. First up is the silent reach block, down block drill.
All right, go ahead.
All right, first major drill that I think is very important, just learning how to read an offensive lineman, is the silent reach drill. Offensive lineman's down in a stance, everything is done on the offensive lineman's movement. You can either have them line up head up or outside shade. Basically, for the silent reach drill, all he's going to do is try to reach me. So going from here, fight outside as quickly as possible. Next variation on that is silent down blocks. Same idea. This is more for the outside guys, but it works as well for the interior linemen. So if this is the outside, and coming towards is the inside. That's your side? Yep. So just squeeze the down block. Now, when you're squeezing the down block, the important aspects are to get the hand on the hip and hand on the shoulder and squeeze it so that as he down blocks, you can fight the trap that's going to come. Finally, the last variation on that drill is to allow the offensive lineman to choose so that you really are reading it. So either one. And all that this does is teach quickness. All right.
So again, with that drill, just one question. So the offensive lineman will pick where they want to go.
For the last variation of that, yes, you let the offensive lineman decide whether they're going to down block or try to reach.
Okay.
And it's all.
Next, we have the one-arm outside leverage drill.
The next drill, and this is just more kind of a technique thing, is the one-arm reach. So the offensive lineman is going to continue to try to reach me. I'm going to have my hand on his outside shoulder, and I'm just going to try to fight upfield with one hand. So on your movement, go ahead. Same idea. It's just teaching you to keep outside leverage.
Can I do it this way? With Pete's back to me.
Pete's back to you. All right. Set. Go. Fighting upfield and keeping the hand on the outside shoulder. All right, next one. Gotta go through these.
Here we'll take a look at some pass rush technique as demonstrated by Coach Michael Reggie.
All right. For the next one, all I'm gonna have you do is give me basically a pass set, get your hands out. And the big thing that they teach in college and in the NFL and beyond is just hand fighting. It's not letting the offensive lineman get his hands on you, period. Because if he can get his hands on you, he can hold you. So the first big move that I like to teach is what my coach called the Britney Spears. Simple move, it's cross block. So when Pete tries to put his hands on me, follow it up with rip, swim, whatever. The next one is the same idea, except basically all you're going to do is cup the hands, throw them away. Finally, the other one you can do is to simply grab the wrist and drive it up. Very similar to wrestling in a lot of those kind of techniques. So pause.
Next up, we'll take a look at some follow-up moves for your pass rush technique.
Next up is the follow-up moves to any of the hand fighting. You've got your basic ones. You've got bull rush, the swim, and then the most common and what I feel to be the most effective the most of the time, the rip. We'll go through the bull rush and the swim first. Key points are it has to be set up. The whole point of a rip or a swim is to get your hips even with his and eventually past his. For the swim, just give me a pass set. Come here, block the hands. Your first step is outside. and then you shoot the arm across and get hip to hip. That's the major point of it, is so that you're keeping close to him, because if you try to swim from out here, you give him too much time to recover. The next one, the bull rush, my favorite version of it is to grab the wrist and put the hand on the shoulder pads, or let the hand slide up a little further if it happens. Go from here, even if you get into the neck area. The next one is the rip. And the rip offers you the most versatility, I think. So, key to a good rip, again, it's the hand fighting and trying to get your shoulder below his shoulder. Trying to get your hips even with his so that you can come through. The most important thing on the rip is that when you use it, is that your shoulders turn. Because if you try to rip like this, other offensive linemen have the opportunity to block it. As Pete said, get skinny. Because let's face it, linemen are wide people. So when you come here, the object is to get skinny through and beat him around. Now,
Talk about your steps and your footwork real quick.
All right, so the first step for the rip is, let's say this is Pete's outside shoulder. It's a step with your outside foot, come through with your inside foot as you're ripping. And then 1-2 steps into the backfield. All right.
When you do that, are you replacing back to your lane,
Yes.
right behind the defensive or offensive lineman? Okay.
Exactly. That's why you want to stay as close to him as possible. You want to stay hip to hip. Even as you beat him, you want to basically replace where the offensive lineman was. All right.
Now we look at how offensive linemen counter various techniques and how we can escape those counters.
All right. First one. The next step is learning how to escape the ways that the offensive line is going to counter this. The first one is if you're locked in a rip and he clamps down on your arm hard. Now the best thing you can do here is to simply loose arm and throw him by. All you do is if you're in a rip tight and he's locked onto you, throw your arm back and step forward. All right, the next one. If you have an offensive lineman, you're leaning in, he's leaning on you. He's leaning heavily into you. Stand up. First of all, you have to be lower than him. Second of all, if he's got a heavy top body lean, when you go to step around, drop your level. Similar to a shot in wrestling. The key here is if you change your level, he'll fly right past you. The other one, if he's got a combination of the tight grip and the heavy lean, or if he's keeping his shoulders relatively square on you, the other one that works is to double clutch. Basically double fist pump. Again, those are the initial escape moves you can try. All right.
Here we take a look at what to do once you're engaged with an offensive lineman.
The next move are the next set of moves are what I like to call 3-second escapes. These are for situations where the offensive lineman has started to try to run you past the quarterback. First one I want to show you is the hump move. So we're here. Pete's going to try to run me past the quarterback. Go. Here, plant your upfield foot. Plant your upfield foot. Pull your arm back, and like a hip toss in wrestling, throw him by. All right. The next move, similar kind of situation, but it's more effective against a taller opponent or against a opponent who is using more momentum against you, is the spin move, which I feel is the most overused and worst performed move in football today. The key to a spin move is that you have to be able to stay low and you have to be athletic enough to actually do it. So, same idea. Pete's just gonna try to run me off. I'm gonna plant here, post up, put your hand on it. One more time. going to come from here, post up, and on him to make sure that he doesn't have a chance to react to you. And finally, actually, I think that's it. Trying to think what other.
Now let's take a look at push-pull movement used by a defensive lineman.
Next up, and this is a move that works every once in a while. It's not a move that you can use all the time, but it was a move that I was very successful with in college. It's called the push-pull, who was actually taught to me by a wrestler here at St. Charles. Walter Fida used to use this move on me all the time. So, as in any kind of good pass rush, first thing you want to do is be the one to deliver the blow. So, Pete's going to give me a pass set. I'm going to come up and I'm going to give him a good shot. When Pete starts to lean back into me, all I'm going to do is throw him by and come around. So one more time at full speed. Come in here. Just like that.
Here we take a look at double team situations. Special thanks to Coach Mike Donovan for his help.
All right. Next step is learning how to read basically two-man blocks. In this case, I'm going to be lined up over Coach O'Grady. Coach O'Grady is going to be my visual key. He's going to be the first person that I read. Coach Donovan is going to be what I call my pressure key. In this situation, this is facing against a down block and against a double team. So from here, we go down, set, go. I'm coming here, locking up with Coach O'Grady. When I start to feel the pressure from Coach Donovan, I'm going to turn my shoulder and try to fight between the two. In essence, when I get to that point, set, go. When I get to that point, next steps, if I get in between them, I can use Coach Donovan's momentum to push off Coach O'Grady, split the double team. If you're in a situation where you get caught too high or with your shoulders square, the next step is to drive your elbow and your knee to the ground. So in this case, set, go. You're gonna drive elbow, knee to the ground. All right, from the other angle, same. This is gonna be the same thing. We're gonna work on the double team. Okay. So, set, go. Come here, turn the shoulder, use his momentum against you. In the case that you get caught with your shoulders square, or if you get caught up too high, set, go. Drive elbow and knee to the ground. All right. Next up is being able to fight off a scoop block. So all you guys are going to do is reach me. You're going to try to do it.
I just post you my up.
Right.
So what, my step, so
Here's the zone step.
You're
You're going to try to get. In the case of facing a reach where one offensive lineman is trying to pass you off to another offensive lineman, the key is to squeeze the man in front of you while avoiding the man coming from the other side. So, set, go. And again, just trying to avoid the double team. Trying to split the double team. The last one is against a chip or a combo block, or I think you guys call it cog block. Cog. Center guard. In that case, as a defensive lineman, what you want to do is to force the issue and try to maintain the double team on yourself and give your linebacker time to react. So the key here is, rather than turning your shoulders at the first sign, is to try to stay square and hold your point as long as possible, or even grab the outside man. So it's going to be that kind of chip where you try to go to back. He's just trying to get to the side. So, go. Set, basically a hand on your way up the back.
What you're supposed to do is get him to turn his shoulders so that my guy can come right. So
Get around.
step, punch, step.
Yep.
Sorry, I just got
That's
shoulder at the jaw before
All right, one more time.
You ready, Spielberg?
We good?
Yeah, I got that one.
Spielberg. Here we go.
I'm gonna rape Indiana Jones later. Oh, did I say that on live camera? Never mind.
Gal.
Yeah. All right.
The important thing
That's going on a
here
blooper reel.
is to work a type of push-pull. As soon as you realize the man in front of you is trying to scoop you while the other man is trying to turn your shoulder, the important thing is to get your hand on his outside shoulder, here and here. Keep his shoulders turned so that he's unable to scoop you. So, kind of live time. Here we go. Set, go. Again, it's trying to take away the chip to the backer as much as possible. You're not going to be able to stop him completely, but the goal is to slow him down so the backer has more time to adjust.
Now let's take a look at trap technique for defensive linemen.
The next thing to build off of the silent reach, silent down block drill is to incorporate the trap block coming at you and institute a wrong arm move. From here, what Coach Donovan is going to do is block down, and Coach O'Grady is going to try to kick me out with the trap block. We're going to go through the first 3 steps, go kind of slow. All right?
So it's left foot, right foot, left foot.
Yep. All right. So first, here we go. Set, hit. Again, hips, shoulders, wrong arm.
Good side.
Here we go.
Push back hold.
Set, hit, hips, shoulders. You're already into your wrong arm if you squeeze the down block. One last time at full speed. Here we go. Set, hit. There to make the play.
Now let's take a look at a couple situations where an offensive lineman might be holding you.
All right, the next thing to do or to work on is what if you get held. First of all, if you're working hand fighting correctly, you shouldn't get held. But to follow that up, if he does happen to get your hands on you, there's a few things that you can do. So first, Coach Grady is going to have what I call an inside or steering wheel hold. Now what you want to do in this situation, your hands are going to make a W basically. You're going to come up from underneath, grab his wrists, and turn them inwards. So from here, and follow it up with a rip or a swing. One more time. Thumbs up, grab the wrist, throw them down, step through. It's the best move to use against an inside hold. For an outside hold, Coach O'Grady has my shoulder pads. What you want to do is you want to post here, grab the elbow, pull it in. One more time. What you're going to do is you're going to post, grab the elbow, pull it in, step through. Trying to think.
Now let's take a look at what to do when the offensive lineman pulls for you, such as a trap or a power situation.
Now the next situation is, what if the offensive lineman in front of you pulls away from you? More than likely, if you're on the inside, what you're going to see is a down block from the next man over. There are 2 things you can do in this instance. First, if the offensive lineman gets his head behind you, you can basically rip underneath it and follow straight down the line of scrimmage and follow the guard or the pulling, whatever. In this case, set, go. Head's in front or behind you, get through, lower the shoulder, flat down the line. One more time. Set, go. Flat down the line. The offensive lineman happens to get his hands or his head or helmet in front of you. The other move that you can do is what I like to call give ground to gain ground. In this case, set, go. You're blocked. Push off, take a back step, and hop around. One more time. set, go. Hop around.
Again, I'd like to give special thanks to Coach Michael Reggie, Coach Pierce O'Grady, and Coach Michael Donovan for their assistance in creating this defensive line technique video.